to win basketball. Job of that, although they dropped their last game against Adelaide in a 1-point loss, but overall the feeling is really strong in the Bullets building. They feel like while they may not have as much talent as some of the other teams in the competition, they feel that their chemistry, their unity, and their direction is going to pull them up higher than what people believe they will perform at. So, again, another team that is going to be really interesting to watch throughout the year. They get off to a really good start. They open with New Zealand, a team that struggled thus far in the preseason. So Justin Schuller now has a clear pathway to do his thing and show what he can do as a head coach.
Of course, we are here on the Gold Coast, 29 degrees and sunny today. Derek, it makes a lovely change from coming up from Melbourne over the last little while. NBL Blitz is, of course, proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast, one of the only locations in the world where you can watch world-class basketball, hike through ancient rainforests, sip cocktails by a pool out in the sun. I know that'll be up your alley. The world-class golf courses around here. Of course, Royal Pines just down the road. Southport as well, not too far from here, is a beautiful track. Movie World, Dream World. And it's all in the same city within about half an hour drive. So it's a magnificent part of the world. We're very lucky. We're very thankful to be here for another year on the Gold Coast. And again, it's been pretty well supported. New venue this year for these games. So we're out at Carrara Indoor Sports Centre. So next to where the Gold Coast Suns play in the AFL, we've got the BMX set up at one end of the court here, the squash centre at the other end, and plenty of basketball fans jammed in the middle. Starting lineup, so a couple of new faces in that Tassie starting lineup. You saw Walter Brown there, of course, a DP the last few years. Milton Doyle, we know and love. Jordan Crawford, much the same. Ruben Tarangi and Gorjok Gak is a new face. So two newbies to the JackJumpers getting a start for Scott Roth's crew. For the Brisbane Bullets, it's almost an all-new 5 that are running out there for the first time today. So Keandre Cook, James Bateman, Deng Adele, all recruits to the club. So too Toy Smith-Milner from Adelaide, and Tyrell Harrison, who had a terrific year last year, slots into their starting lineup for this first NBL Blitz game. What are you looking forward to for Tassie? What's the thing that you really want to see in person early in this game?
Well, with the loss of Jack McVeigh, they need someone else to step up, and I think a lot of that burden will go on to Milton Doyle. Correspondingly, I want to see Gorjok Gak. I thought he showed a lot of promise when he played for the Bullets, went down to Southeast Melbourne, had a lot of injury concerns, never got healthy. That's a great opportunity for him.
So Gak and Harrison to tip us off. And the NBL Blitz is underway on the Gold Coast. And immediately the Bullets go inside. Deng Adele to Harrison. Couldn't have drawn it up any better.
Well, Tyrell's been in devastating form in the preseason. A young veteran of the league and someone who could be the real linchpin this season for the Bullets if they have success.
And he gets a hand in there defensively as well. A lot of question marks about Deng Adele and exactly what he'll bring to the piece for the Bullets this season as Harrison's fouled. He's going to be a fascinating watch, Deng Adele. We know when he's at his best, he can be an electrifying talent. Exactly what Brisbane get out of him, we remain to see. But the preseason signs have been reasonably positive.
They've been really good, and a lot of people are only basing their opinion of Deng Adele based on the glimpse of him we had at Illawarra, where he did not look good, okay? But that is only a blip on his whole career radar, and he is a talented guy who played in the NBA, had a good college career at Louisville. So don't mistake a bad passage of time for a lack of talent.
Playing in France most recently in the second division over there. Certainly brings a bit to the table. Brown getting involved early for the JackJumpers. Smooth finish for Walter Brown. Only appeared in the 4 games last season. Making the most of an early opportunity here. A little bit of misconnection. Of course, there's a couple of faces who've played for both of these teams. Ruben Tarangi suited up in Bullets colours over the years. So too Gorjok Gak. Jared Bairstow is on the Brisbane bench this season, having played in that championship run with Tassie last season. Open look for Tarangi. Banks it home.
Well, that's not ideal.
You're not convinced by that?
James Bateman, someone who Bullets fans want to have a good look at because comes in with good credentials as Dangadell tries to get it going. But Bateman, they've been looking for a quality point guard in Brisbane to lead that team and give them scoring, leadership, and ball distribution. He's shown signs, been averaging about 15 a game in the preseason. Not overly dynamic, but yet the numbers keep presenting in this preseason.
He's played internationally at a number of different stops. That's the Milton Doyle that we've come to expect. Swooping to the hoop. So yeah, Bateman's played most recently in Israel, Greece, and Germany, and France before that. Played his college ball at Loyola Marymount. Jordan Crawford, of course, the last time we saw him in Tassie colours in an NBL fixture. Game 5, 32 points. And he gets immediately to work here. And an early timeout for the Brisbane Bullets. So Justin Schuller maybe not happy with what he's seeing after a hot start. There's Rocco Zikarsky. So much focus is going to be on him and how he's improved over the off-season and what he can deliver as we see Crawford's smooth finish there.
And we've seen in this preseason, Bateman's had some problems against full court pressure in the Melbourne United game. He had troubles handling it up the floor against Shea Illy. And right there we saw Crawford force him into a ball handling error, which led to a rush shot. And then Crawford's able to convert on the other end. And this is a tough league to come in as a point guard. We are loaded with high-quality small players throughout this competition. And we'll see, of course, two of the ringleaders later on in the week in Bryce Cotton and Parker Jackson Cartwright. Two guys I've got ranked in my top 3 players in the competition.
Of course, your top 15 has been released recently. I know it's been dominating my social media feed.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
My favourite part of it though was the music on the podcast forums. Sounded like sort of Snake Charmer type music, which I quite enjoyed.
We have an excellent support crew down in Melbourne. NBL Media does an amazing job with the edits, the graphic work, world-class productivity. And it's interesting, when you start turning that ball over in the backcourt, it's like sharks to blood. Scott Ross senses there may be a weakness there. Now he's really amped up the full court pressure on Bateman to see if he can handle it. Now, he won't apply it the whole game. He'll just want to get a taste of it here in the preseason, see what's what, and then stick it in his pocket for another time later in the year.
Well, what you can take and the lessons you can learn. Here's Bateman from the corner. Harrison's been really active early. And he's fouled on the way through there. These two teams played 3 absolute belters last year when they met. So Brisbane won 2 of them. Round 5, they won by 3. The next week in the back-to-back, the home and home, Tassie won by 2. And then later on in the season, Brisbane won by 3. So there wasn't much that split them all season. And you think about where Brisbane finished in 7th, a good sign, sort of validates the fact that when you play that well against the team that ends up being the champions, you maybe weren't all that far off it.
And Tyrell, that's an area where he'll need to be good this season. I anticipate a lot of free throw line appearances from him based on an increased usage rate this year. If he can knock down his free throws, it makes him a real problem. Free throws, health, stay out of foul trouble. As Tarangi kicks that one over to the Suns' office.
With some real force as well from Ruben Tarangi.
NBL OG Andre Boards in the house. Welcome, Andre.
A couple of Kiwis in Toy Smith-Milner and Tarangi battling. Gets a look at how Bateman sets up this Brisbane offense. Exactly how they'll get to work. Keandre Cook's going to be an interesting one to watch as well. Harrison's been the focal point of everything early. He's fouled underneath again. But Keandre Cook you know, he sort of brings that shooting. They wanted a little bit of an upgrade on Chris Smith. They only had the 3 double-digit scorers last year, Brisbane. They really struggled to turn the scoreboard over outside of Nathan Sobey. If he can find his stroke, which he comes in very accomplished in that sense, that'd be a big tick for Justin Schuler's crew.
It will, and he'll get plenty of opportunities to show what he can do. And sometimes one of the adjustments imports need to make when they come to the NBL is being more aggressive and getting out there and not having to play within structure as much as, say, you would be required to in Europe, where things are, it's really a lower possession game. We're a high possession game. We get up and down, and that entails and requires imports to be really skilled and really aggressive and make plays for yourself and your teammates.
Bench will be another interesting factor for Brisbane. They struggled to score off the bench last season. Seems like they've got some reasonable depth this year. Tarangi might have just stepped on the paint there as he tried to keep that one in.
And Joel, early, Jordan Crawford looks really bouncy. I really like his vibration. He's always difficult to guard. He's got so many great moves, can get a shot off just about any time. And we know as Harrison throws it up. Sorry, as Milner throws it up for Harrison. Cook with the finish. But we know Crawford has a lot of self-belief. He struggled in a lot of that championship series and the playoffs, and then when it mattered most in Game 5, came out and gave him 32 big ones.
What was that like, being there for that performance? I was on the road that day, listening to it on the radio, and it was astonishing. As Doyle with a solid foul brings Cook to the floor. What was it like being there, seeing Jordan Crawford do that? Essentially out of nowhere, given the form that he'd been in.
Well, a lot of that, you know, that fortnight or so of that championship series, we were in airports together, so we would be traveling with the teams, and we'd see the ups and downs and the players going through just the rigor of physical burden, emotional roller coaster. And he was a guy who was under a lot of criticism in the media because he wasn't performing. And in some of those games, Scott Roth elected to go with Sean McDonald for most of the second halves of games.
Yep.
And Crawford still, he approached every game the same. You'd see him out there in the shoot-around, going through what he needed to do in a very professional manner. And I just have a lot of respect for him. He never dropped his head despite the adversity or perhaps some perceived unfairness with his minutes. But he knew how to step up, and he's a true professional.
It's a real testament to that sort of mantra of staying ready, isn't it? To see what Jordan Crawford did. Doyle's a little bit off there. Just a staggering performance, especially in that first half, and really set them up. They were able to bring it home and take that championship back to Tassie. They've got the gold insignia on the jerseys this season, which are just a little bit deeper in green as well. Nice little step back from Adele. That's a promising sign for Bullets fans. Crawford goes right back at them. We know he can do that with the best of them.
He's so talented. He can get a shot anytime he wants. And there's not many guys like that in the league, so it's a valuable weapon to have on your team.
Bateman showing his range.
And that was a good-looking stroke. They need him to find his spot in this team and in this league early. Brisbane need early wins.
Bairstow battling with Kruzlovic. Teammates from last season, of course.
That's a good matchup.
Jared Bairstow spending a couple of years down in Tassie. Harrison and Magnay, a good matchup as well. Two of the premier local big men in the comp. Well, Magnay featuring in that top 15 list of yours, and rightfully so. Extraordinary season last year. Walter Brown makes his move.
Well, that would drive Justin Schuler crazy. Brown gets around, the first defender and no one else comes to rotate, Tasmania is looking really connected on the defensive end. One of the better defensive teams in the competition as Adele finishes over one of the better shot blockers in the world, Will Magnay. Adele looks nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks really sharp. Will Magnay, 1.6 blocks a game last year, led the league.
Thanks for the support, Joel.
Do what I can. And now this is exciting. For a lot of people out there, we get our first look at Rocco Zikarsky, the next start, who checks into the game. It's hard to fathom. I was sort of going through his stats today. Just averaged over sort of just around 6.5 minutes a game last season, but he felt like he had such an impact when he was out there.
Well, it didn't just feel like that. It was because that was actually the case. He was a very impactful player, and he really has a great opportunity now as a next star, his second season as a next star, to show his worth to NBA teams. As Sword lets one fly from the corner. If he can do that, that will help. Oh, look, he can defend too.
Well, that's his calling card.
Ooh,
Craig Sword is a lockdown defender. That is what he comes to this team with. No matter where he's gone in the world, that's what's really been the big ticket item for Craig Sword. Lovely finish there from Cook. He makes that work.
And Brisbane are knocking down some tough shots.
They're having to do it the hard way, aren't they? The Bullets in the early doors. Brody Nunn out there, the DP out of the Knox Raiders, signed in the off-season for this Tassie team. Clint Steindl recently reappointed as captain for the 4th season. Milton Doyle elevated to vice-captain. Cook tries to thread the needle and can't quite. Sword's addition to this team's a really interesting one in terms of the dynamic, just to give them that lockdown wing presence.
And you see this so often in the NBL. You lose a big-time player like a Jack McVeigh, or even in the Bullets case, Nathan Sobey, and fans immediately wonder, oh, you know, they're distressed. They think, you know, the world is coming to an end. These coaches and these franchises are really good at figuring out how to cover for those losses, and the NBL is such an attractive league for players to come into. Now, you may not be able to fill that up with a local player, and there is risk in getting that import player over here, but certainly you're more than capable of making up for those losses, and Craig Sword is going to be a big part of making up for the void left by Jack McVeigh.
In a different way, perhaps, as well, to give them a bit of a different look.
It doesn't have to be in kind.
See a little bit of him handling the ball off the inbound pass here. Mitch Norton. Here's Prather. Little medial go.
Now, he's a bit of an X factor.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy, multi-championship winner, high pedigree, high character.
Talk about ceilings. Casey Prather raises that off the Brisbane Bullets.
And even if he can get to 80% of what we know Casey Prather is as a player, that significantly impacts Brisbane in a positive manner, provided the other two imports can bring a solid level of basketball. Brisbane will be in a really good position because they've got some locals who are playing well. Mitch Norton's doing a really good job. We've spoken about Tyrell, and of course this man right here.
It was never going to take long. And Rocco imposes himself on the competition in the first quarter of this NBL Blitz clash. A thunderous two-hand jam from the big fella. That's just a taste of what we're going to see this season. Sword tried to float it home. Gee, that's exciting to see the big man get upstairs. Third go for Craig Sword. He's fouled at the other end.
Referee says foul. Number 11, Rocco Zikarsky, is first personal.
Get a look at the foul here. It's a fair old swipe from the big man.
Well, that's why he's in there, to challenge everything at the rim. He's not required to play 25 minutes a game, so he's got fouls to give. He doesn't need to be ridiculous with giving them away, but in an instance like that, he's got to go after that.
Brisbane's three bigs, so Zikarsky, Harrison, Bannon. How does Justin Schuller fit them all into the rotation? How much can he play them together? how does he sort of stagger their minutes to make it all work?
I still believe in an old school approach every now and then. I've actually played Tyrell and Rocco out there at the same time just to shake teams up. But I think there are enough minutes in the court, and Bannon being such a flexible player, I think there's no problem working with those three. And also, remember, you got Dangadell as Rocco makes a nice little left-handed hook. But I think Justin Schuler's more than capable of working out the rotation. And Lucas, he probably can go into each game kind of with a time budget for each player. But a lot of that is going to be based on in-game form, foul trouble, and obviously health, as Magne wants to go right at him.
Stands up to it on that occasion because Rocco. And you think that he will get, he'll get teams that want to target him, that want to take it right at him, that want to put him under that pressure. He's still only a teenager. He's growing into his body and into his game. Casey Prather. We know that he's grown into his game and he's growing into that Bullets jersey. We only saw him on a handful of occasions last season. Just the 7 outings as he fought his way back from injury. Counting down in this opening term. Oh, Magne on the lob. Just can't finish. Couple of seconds to go. And Prather tosses it away as we end this opening term. The Bullets got out to a hot start. The Jackies jumped them back. And then Brisbane able to rumble away to a 10-point quarter-time lead. 29 plays 19 at the end of one. Promising start from the Bullets.
Well, that second group came in and really impacted the game. And Justin Schuler would be extremely pleased with that, because in this league, you've got to be deep. Some teams will try and get away with 7 or 8 guys. But the reality is, throughout the course of the season, you got to be 9, 10 deep and then go a little bit tighter in your rotations. That doesn't mean everybody has to play 15, 20 minutes. Your certain top guys got to carry most of the load. But depth is key.
Especially for Brisbane, it's something that probably didn't work in their favour last year. Nathan Sobey had to shoulder so much of the load for the Bullets last season. They lead by 10 in their first outing, shooting 10 of 15 in that opening frame. Tassie 7 of 17, 2 of 4 from downtown. Tassie with 8 3-point attempts. They were really right up there in the 3-point attempts last season. Tyrell Harrison, the opening bucket of the game. Dangadell, he showed some positive signs in that first term.
He did. Adele and Cook looked really good. Being able to work within the system and find opportunities. Bateman started off a little bit sketchy, but found his way into the game. And I thought Tasmania in the first 5 minutes did a really good job defensively. Scott Roth would have been pleased with what he saw. But then the combination of the Bullet shooters finding their range and maybe a little bit of drop-off as to be expected in the preseason. Maybe they lost a little bit of focus as we see Rocco celebrating his first dunk of the Blitz. I'm sure it won't be his final one.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see a little bit of that throughout the course of the season for Rocco Zikarsky. That is for sure. What an exciting prospect he is. So Bullets by 10 as we get going here in this second frame. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker with you at the Carrara Indoor Sports Centre. Clint Steindl is absolutely automatic from that range. 46% last season, led the league. For a good portion of the season, he was over 50%. He is an outstanding shooter. Must be amazing to know that you've got Steindl and McDonald on those wings, and no matter when they get the rock, they're going to hit around about half of those 3-point attempts.
Well, Tasmania, one of the top 2 offensive teams in the league all throughout last season. They play at a bit of a slower pace than the rest of the competition, but they execute well and they really shoot the ball well as White lets one fly. And we'll have to discuss Isaac White at some point. Hasn't really found his spot as a shooter in the league. We know he's a talented shooter. Does it really well at NBL 1 level. But I'm sure he's anxious to get it going in the big boys league.
Just didn't find his shot last season. We know that he can certainly fill it up. And he could play a really important role for them in terms of that bench scoring, bringing some energy in. He's not going to play big minutes, but if you can get a good 10 minutes out of him, then, you know, maybe that becomes a 15 or 20 in certain games against certain matchups when you need a little bit more scoring punch.
Yep. And it could be the case where he doesn't have a long lead. He's got to knock down the shots when they're open. You know he'll give you good effort. He's an intelligent player. And the other thing is, can he create opportunities for his teammates? As a smaller guard out there, that's imperative.
So here's Casey Prather for the Bullets, multiple-time champion in the NBL.
And Joel, you see his shot looks much better than in his early days in the league when he was with Perth and Melbourne United. And it's something that's kind of a natural progression based on those that have the work ethic and understand the importance of having a good shot as you get older. The athleticism goes. You sustain injuries that impact you physically. And you've seen Casey really start to show signs of being a high-quality shooter. A little tumble and fumble there on the floor. Foul on Bairstow.
One of the glue guys for that Tasmania team. See why there was some appeal there for Brisbane to bring him back to Queensland. Hopefully every scorer's bench in the competition's got Jared Bairstow's number this year after they forgot him on the paperwork at one point last season.
Yeah. And I thought that was a really good signing by Brisbane. Somebody that brings an attitude, the right energy, selfless, and a championship winner.
Rizlovic floats it home with the right hands. However, just never really found his shot last season. Couldn't get into too much of a rhythm offensively, but still plays an important role. One of the real leaders of this team. What a story Majuk Deng was at the end of last season. Coming in off a massive layoff. Had a real impact in that championship series.
Well, we remember
showing his finishing ability.
We remember Game 3 down at John Cain Arena. Things were looking desperate going into the fourth quarter. Majuk Deng erupts for 15 in the fourth. And really took it at the Melbourne United bigs. And one of the most memorable shots in NBL history, the bomb by McVeigh.
One of.
I give it number 1.
Yeah.
I still watch it.
I don't blame you. I reckon I've watched. I had a visceral physical reaction to that. I was sitting on my couch at home. We'd come back from the Grand Prix that day. Sat down, watched the basketball, and it was like one of those moments that you jolt back into the seat when you see it, and you just look around and go, did that just happen? It was incredible.
And, you know, being fortunate enough to be down there with Jack Heverin and Andrew Gaves calling that game, and I know that I will never forget the emotional response that, as you say, it was a real visceral thing. And all through the evening, it was just the Australian basketball world was on fire because it was a moment that went truly global.
Yeah, absolutely it did. And deservedly so for all that it meant, and I mean potentially what it propelled Jack McVeigh to. I'm not sure you know, obviously his form does the talking, but that kind of moment's just got to get you some eyeballs, right? Get you some attention. Who's this guy? And then a couple of teams do a bit of digging, and all of a sudden they like what they see.
Well, it's a guy who was sitting on the bench for Adelaide, essentially was unwanted. Scott Ross throws him a lifeline, unsure of what his future would be. With Isaac White. unsuccessful in his raid on the bucket in transition. But McVeigh, we know the fable. Wakes up tells himself every morning in the mirror, I make big shots. Tried to do that this offseason, Joel. Been telling myself I make great blitz. Maybe not.
Bullets fans, what do you go to this play?
For a preseason game, good quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guys playing with a nice level of intensity as Bateman continues to show a little bit more comfort as every game and every quarter goes by.
A little bit of a preseason fist pump too from James Bateman. So a bit of energy, a bit of intensity after he finishes this one.
Nice play, leans in, extends the right arm, finishes outside the frame. It's a guy who's played in a lot of places around the world. He's got good experience.
He's able to finish at the line as well. (34-26), Brisbane leading Tasmania. Walter Brown looking for Deng outside. He can't quite finish, and Harrison has been really, really busy. Isaac White can't get it to go. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker with you. The NBL Blitz here on the Gold Coast. NBL Blitz are proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast. And terrific to have Tassie sporting royalty. Former Australian Test captain and, of course, part of the High Performance Advisory Board for the Tassie JackJumpers in Tim Paine. Tim, great to see you here on the Gold Coast.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
We wanted to get you on because your sense of the Tasmanian sporting landscape and, of course, of this team. But coming off the Championship Series last year, how did that land in Tassie? What's the sort of the intervening 6 months to get to this period been like with a national champion in your own backyard?
Yeah, it's been extraordinary. There's no doubt about that. I was actually speaking to someone this morning. I think the championship was kind of the icing on the cake for the first 3 years. And I mean, if this team could win a championship for the way they've engaged the state of Tasmania, their partners, they've been absolutely fantastic from the top down through the club, and the championship was a great reward, but I dare say Scott wouldn't like me up here talking about it because he's put it in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward to getting better and trying to build on what's already been an amazing start to the club and franchise.
And how do you see the changes this offseason that they've made? Obviously, Jack McVeigh's loss was massive.
Yep.
But how are you feeling about the prospects for this season? We know how difficult it is to go back-to-back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're already kind of fighting against that.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I think the JackJumpers have been fighting against it since day one. And I know a massive mantra of the club's always been if someone goes out, someone just steps up and plays that role. And obviously, Jack McVeigh's been a huge part of the Tasmanian team for the first 3 years, and he'll be certainly missed, but I know the way they're going about trying to replace him is with the whole team just doing a little bit extra, and that's always been Scott and the JackJumpers mantra.
From a leadership perspective, Tim, to have sort of the consistency that you've had with Quinn Steindorf, Fabian Kvizovic, now Milton Doyle's now in his third season with the club, he's really sort of blossomed into a fixture of this team. To be able to kind of have some continuity in leadership as you build this sort of new face, if you like, after a championship team, has that helped things?
Oh, I think it always does, consistency in everything, even from the board down with Steve Old, who's now taken on the chairmanship. Christine's been there basically from the start in a different role, Scott himself. So I think if you can build an environment around the club where your leaders on the field and your leaders off the field or court are similar, you can build that real confidence and certainly makes it for a better place for our players to even recruit and bring families down. So yeah, it's been a real strength, I think, that consistency of leadership both on and off the court, and hopefully that will continue for another 3 or 4 years.
What's been the key to engaging Tassie, do you think, in this team? Because it's been pretty remarkable to see. Of course, we've got the Australian Rules franchise that's going to start up there. They've got an amazing model to follow in what the JackJumpers have been able to do that have been really the gold standard for an expansion franchise in Australian sport. How have they tapped into that Tasmanian mentality?
Well, it's a great question. I think Scott's had a huge part in it. There's no doubt about that. He's been the face of the organisation, and I think it's rare that you get someone to move from America and come and insert themselves in Tasmania like Scott does. And obviously he gets all the accolades for the great coaching he's done, but certainly on the mainland, what you wouldn't see is the time that he spends in the communities, and particularly in the basketball communities. I mean, he landed in the state about a month or so ago, and the first day he was up in Ulverston and in Launceston and in Wynyard, and he gets around the state. And when you've got a leader like that, the whole state of Tasmania, I think we want franchises and sports teams in Tasmania to move down and take a little bit of us, and Scott's certainly done that. I think he's a bit of an honorary Tasmanian now. Milton Doyle, he's talking about wanting to get citizenship in Australia and continue staying on. So, they've done an amazing job. They play a brand, a sporting style, if you like, that Tasmanians, I think, really relate to. They have a crack at it. They're not relying on too many superstar players. They all get in and do their bit, and that's a very Tasmanian way of playing.
So, Tim, if you were hooping in the NBL, you're now a player.
Oh.
Let's talk about your playing profile. What would you look like as a baller?
I'd be giving great energy on the bench, I reckon. I'd be terrific at training.
Would you be a creator, a feisty defender? Would you be a shooter?
Well, I did play one game as a very young guy, and my background was AFL footy at that stage, and I just said, listen, I can't shoot, not very good at dribbling, but what I'll do is if you show me who the best player is, I'll mark him.
Take him out.
They call me the glove for the night, so we'll stick at that.
A bit of Gary Payton type stuff. And your role, of course, sort of leading some of the advising the high performance side of things. Of course, there's some development in that space down for the Jackies, which is really exciting, coming with a high performance centre too. What are you hoping to impart on this team from that perspective?
Oh, look, it's hard to say at the moment. I've only just come into the role, and obviously very honoured and humbled to be given the opportunity. But for me, I certainly think our basketball program at the moment is probably the envy of the country. So for me to come in and say I'm going to improve this and I'm going to improve that would be foolish. So for me at the moment, it's about these sort of weeks coming away, getting to know everyone, seeing how things operate, and then clearly our basketball program is amazing, but we'd be foolish also to think that it can't get better in some way. And if I can help add to that over the next couple of years with my experience from other sports and trying to tap into people all around the country. We've got some visits lined up with the Gold Coast Suns this week. We'll go to the West Coast Eagles around Hoop Fest in Perth, and just try and pick the brain of other people at the top of the tree in sport in Australia and around the world, and see if we can take some ideas. But at the moment we're in a terrific position in terms of our program, and I suppose trying to just add little things to it in the next couple of years would be the goal.
And one more before we let you go. How do you go with cigars? Have you been converted by the
No,
by the
I
boss?
haven't yet. He sent me a few photos over the years. He's come down to my local cricket club where he lives very close, and he's always had one in his mouth, and I think he's actually just taken delivery of a special pack in from America today. So I might go and try my luck with him later on. We'll see how it goes.
Nice work. It's going to be a busy season. We're really excited to see all that the JackJumpers can do this season, defending that championship.
Before I do, I was going to say Derek he upset a few people during the week with his rating of Milton Doyle, and I co-host a radio show on SEM with Brent Costello, and it lit up our text board saying it's disrespectful to Milton. So Tassie people have got a bit of a watch on you when you come down this
that's
season.
good. I love motivating the players, and I love Tasmania.
Yeah, excellent. No, I'm sure they'll give you a warm welcome, but it was good. It just shows, though, how much the JackJumpers have engaged the state of Tasmania, because to think that you'd be running a radio show 4 or 5 years ago and we'd be getting people text messaging in about someone's top 15 players in the NBL, I don't think anyone would have thought. So, again, hats off to what they've been able to do in Tasmania, and you keep stirring the pot and we'll keep proving everyone wrong.
Someone's got to do it. Hey, Tim, thanks for your company. Good to catch up.
Thank
All the
you.
best for the season with the Strikers as well.
Thank you very much.
Tim Paine joining us on our NBL Blitz coverage here at the desk. Great to have him a part of our coverage. The Jackies, such an exciting prospect as we head toward this season. Oh, Milton Doyle behind the back. That's very pretty. Can't quite finish. What number was he, Derek?
13.
13. The thing people always forget about this list is, well, you've got to take people out. To put whoever you want in, you've got to take someone out. Who are you going to take out? That's the question.
If people saw the turmoil and the torment I go through in making that list, I think they would be a bit nicer to me. But it's great anyway. We love the engagement.
Absolutely.
And, it always makes me think. So when I put it together and I hear players where I might get a message from someone, I immediately go back and review and just have a think about it. And usually I come back to the same conclusion, as Bateman is really finding the range.
He was out in the Narang River, Derek. He had his feet wet.
And starting to give Justin Schuler a bit more of what he's looking for at that position. He's got 12 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Most importantly, he's hit 3 bombs, and Brisbane over the past 3 to 4 seasons have been one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBL. So a slight bump up in proficiency from the 3 is much appreciated.
Absolutely it is. They've, as you said, been anchored toward the bottom of the table in that metric. So 12 points for Bateman. He leads all scorers. Crawford's got 6 for Tassie. Of course, NBL Plus is back this season. You can sign up for free via the QR code below. All the inside information. You can get straight to the analytics that we get as far as commentary and all kinds of other stuff as well. You can get that through the NBL app. NBL Plus takes you really deep inside the action in this NBL 25 campaign. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker here with you. The NBL Blitz proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast. This world-class destination absolutely turning it on. And that's yours to experience. So much within half an hour drive of the Central Gold Coast, down on Cavill Ave, Surfers Paradise. Light rail, they're building that out to Burleigh. Drove through there today. It's a beautiful part of the world, Burleigh. I love how everything is built around the Bowls Club at Burleigh. The Bowls Club just runs the town and everything else can fit in around the Bowls Club.
And let me tell you, Burleigh Pavilion's no cave either. That's a pretty special place.
I can imagine.
But even some of the border towns at the southern end of the Gold Coast have got some great things going down there. A little bit sleepier than Surfers or Broad Beach, but still very enjoyable. I like to go down there midweek and just chill, shut it down, as Bateman says there's no shut me down. But unlucky, puts that one in the first row.
Looked like he was kicking for goal at the scoreboard end over on the footy field out the back.
I like Dang Adele's mindset. On the offensive end, it looks like he believes he's unguardable. And based on what we've seen this preseason thus far, he may be telling the truth.
2 of 5 to start here. Haven't seen a couple for the Bullets. No Sam McDaniel as yet. Coming off an outstanding NBL 1 campaign where he was MVP, Defensive Player of the Year in the NBL 1 North. Jordan Crawford at the line. Bullets by 7. They led by 10 at quarter time. Tassie got off to a fast start in this second term. Scott Roth on the sidelines patrolling for Tassie. That's his green shoes. You can just see in the back of that previous shot. It's always well appointed in terms of the kicks. He's our man, Scott. Tarangi, Sword, Doyle, Magnay, Crawford, the 5. Suspect we'll see plenty of this lineup throughout the course of the season. Of course, Anthony Drimmick will be a big part of that first 5 for Tassie as well. Such a consistent performer who isn't out there tonight. A little bit of illness. Busy pre-season for Tassie as well. Derek, they've got a really tough start to the year. So they play 2 games here at the Blitz, and they go over to the Intercontinental Cup. They play the Argentinian champions there, then they play a G League team, then they sort of go to the finals potentially of that across the 13th to the 15th of this month. Then they go to Hoops Fest, they play Melbourne United, and they go back to Tassie and they play Melbourne United in their first 2 games.
Well, as the global game gets smaller and smaller, when teams experience success, there's going to be greater demands on your schedule. You'll be required or asked, invited to appear in more international competitions if I foresee this properly. And, yep, it's going to be tough on them. But the way that team is built, the age of that team, they're not an old team. They have guys who can bounce back quickly. And, you know, that I think Scott Roth will have them viewing it more as a great opportunity, a privilege rather than a burden.
Yep.
So it's exciting for them. I'd love to be going all over the world to play basketball.
Get over to Singapore for the Intercontinental Cup. So they go, then they're at Perth, back at home for Melbourne, at Cairns, and then they play Perth at home. And then they go to Illawarra, and they've got Sydney at home. That's their first 6 in the regular season.
And that sounds very daunting. But when I look at the schedule, Joel, based on how this league is constructed, there are no easy games, man.
Yeah.
You could be rested, well-nutritioned, everything, and go down and play Adelaide on a Friday night and get your doors blown off.
Yep.
That's how this league is going to shape up this year. There's so much parity. I've put some suggestions out there on how I think it's going to shape up, but even I have some doubt when I go back and look at it.
Where was your biggest inflection point in terms of sort of picking playoff teams? Did you have a certain amount that you thought, yep, I'm pretty confident with them?
Yeah, and like a team like Perth, for example, I know they have an advantage. Like, it's really hard for teams to go out to Perth and win games against a talented team, a hungry supporter base in the Red Army. It's really hard to go out there and win games. So Perth are going to win their fair share, but I'm just trying to figure out how good will they be. Are they a top 2 team, or are they going to be, you know, on the edge of the 4? And I think a lot of that will be based on Keanu Pender this season.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
So they gave me a lot of problems. And then, as we get another foul, a New Zealand with the late coaching change.
Yep.
It's hard to – we can't get a read or evaluate the new coach and what he's trying to do.
And they've got the overseas trip as well.
If Motomayor was there, we can go into that evaluation and forecast with a higher degree of confidence because we know what his teams look like and how they operate. So those were the teams that really gave me trouble. And the Bullets, too. Like, you look at them today, they look really well organized on the offensive end. And I think they're playing a style in this first half that Justin Schuller would be really happy with if they could carry it throughout the season. Remain patient on the offensive end. They've held Tasmania to 39 points, and they've been playing their guys. Look at Schuller. He's coaching like this is round 3 at Boondall.
Yes, of course, new venue for the Bullets this season as well.
Brisbane Entertainment Center, about 20-25 minutes north of the CBD.
Lots of good memories there.
Very good memories, Joel, except for Game 3 in 1990. But, yeah, most of them were really good. Thanks for reminding me.
Well, I mean, I wasn't alive, so I don't know how much I reminded you.
Wow, a double dagger.
Mitch Norton hits the first of 2. What's that sort of return to a, you know, we've seen Adelaide go back to the entertainment centre. That's been a great move for them over the last couple of years. What do you think that'll do for basketball in Brizzy?
Well, already it's set a bit of a spark into the basketball community, particularly on the north side where it's kind of the hub of basketball in Brisbane. So the Bullets have done a really good job with their memberships. In 4 days of releasing their memberships, they surpassed last year's revenue. So things are looking really good from a foundational corporate aspect for the Brisbane Bullets. The change, bringing in Malcolm Watts as the CEO last season really changed things, as Norton's going to struggle to get this shot off. He goes the smart way to Rocco.
4 seconds. Might have a half-court heave here from Jordan Crawford to beat the buzzer. Oh, the scoop shot goes! Jordan Crawford with the running man underarm. Unconventional and unbelievable from Jordan Crawford to go to half-time. And we go to the half with only a 2-point spread.
What a
have
shot.
A look at it.
And they're going to take that one away from Jordan Crawford.
Where's the theater?
Amazing skill on the run, scoops it up. A 3 ball. with jelly on it.
That was quite extraordinary from Jordan Crawford. So it is half-time here at the Carrara Indoor Sports Centre. And a 5-point lead to the Brisbane Bullets, who've made a positive start. 46-41 over the Tasmania JackJumpers. The first of 2 games this evening. Melbourne and Cairns coming up from 7:30 Eastern time as Vaughan Maybury chats to Justin Schuler. That's pretty extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, we know he's skilled at these. We saw him hit a number of giant killers, and that's a floater that's tossed up extra high during the championship series over JLA and Ariel Laporte. Very skilled player, Jordan Crawford.
It's a pretty crisp bit of work from Jordan Crawford. He gets us to half-time. Basket doesn't count, so a 5-point lead to the Bullets. Scott Roth heads back into the locker room to talk things over. It's Brisbane 46 to Tassie 41 at half-time. Justin Schuler talking with his assistants as well as to what they might come out and do in this second half. We will step away and be back with you here at Carrara very soon. It is Brisbane by 5 at halftime of NBL Blitz Game 1 on the Gold Coast.
Play the game any NBL fan can win. Supercoach NBL. Be the coach. Challenge your mates. Win prizes. Head to supercoach.com.au today.
All right, we at Crawford Sanctuary. We just finished our tour. Had such an amazing time. My favorite animal was a crocodile, of course. He was a monster. That's who I am, a monster. What was your favorite?
My favorite moment was seeing the little baby Joey, the little baby kangaroo, and feeding them. This was absolutely amazing.
Yep. So until next time, Preacher's out.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest direct from the NBL?
That is enormous!
Well, download the free NBL app now. It's jam-packed with live scores, stats, exclusive content, and much more. Get it from the App Store and Google Play now.
Discover the ultimate in courts, Dream Courts, the official court partner of the NBL. As the leading experts in tailor-made courts, there are so many reasons to choose Dream Courts. Whether for casual backyard enjoyment or professional-grade competition, the fully customisable courts redefine how you play. Dream Courts offers an unparalleled playing experience for everyone. Elevate your game with a Dream Court designed just for you. Visit dreamcourts.com.au to get a quote today.
I'm thrilled to tell you about Swim Start, a game changer for our littlest swimmers. Swim Start is making waves by breaking down barriers for learn to swim lessons in Queensland. We believe every child should have a chance to learn this important skill. That's why Swim Start is offering vouchers valued up to $150 for eligible children up to 4 years of age. Parents, carers and guardians, this is your chance to dive in. Check your eligibility online and apply now to create a generation of confident swimmers. Let's make a splash together.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest direct from the NBL?
That is enormous!
Well, download the free NBL app now. It's jam-packed with live scores, stats, exclusive content, and much more. Get it from the App Store and Google Play now.
Half-time here at Carrara Indoor Centre, and it is Brisbane by 5 points in the first game of this NBL Blitz here on the Gold Coast. The Blitz is proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast. 160 experiences within 30 minutes of the heart of the Gold Coast. Whether you're looking for adventure, relaxation, or a delicious dining experience, it's yours to experience. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker with you. Great to have your company on ESPN through KO. We'll be able to get every single game of this upcoming NBL 25 season. The Jackies back out there for their second half warm-up. So too are the Brisbane Bullets. Plenty in the stands here at Carrara. 25 NBA scouts among them across the course of the week from 22 teams. Of course, Sean Marks, the Brooklyn Nets GM, former New Zealand Breaker, will be in the house as well. Over the weekend, John Riley, the Perth Wildcats coach, was just below us having a little bit of a look at proceedings throughout the course of the afternoon. It's a real learning experience for these teams, isn't it, Derek, as they sort of start to plan for the remainder of this season 2025.
It is, and with Hoops Fest just around the corner, once we wrap up here on the Gold Coast, teams won't have much time to review what's happened. They got to get into it round one. We're ready to go. 5 days or so between, I guess, that sort of final Saturday and then the first Thursday over at RAC Arena in the West, and another one that's going to be a super exciting experience to get over there. And I just love the structure of this, being able to have this event here in the preseason to put a bow on preseason NBL 25, and then everyone, let's meet again in a week or so out in Perth to get things really started. And of course, there are a number of different events going on out at Hoops Fest. Under 18 club championships, WNBL preseason games, sneaker convention.
The event centre down in the centre of Perth as well will be one of the places to be. Meanwhile, 15 games across the 8 days of the NBL Blitz here on the Gold Coast as well, which will give us plenty to work with as we go into this 2025 campaign. Pete Hawley will join me for the second game tonight, Melbourne and Cairns. That's coming your way. Ariana Prather, who will be part of our broadcast team this season, will join us in coverage as well. Also, husband Casey out there at the moment for the Bullets, who lead by 5, 46-41. What's caught your eye on the stats sheet in that first half, Ruck?
Well, I thought James Bateman and Jordan Crawford had a good little duel. Both guys played very well, and I think Justin Schuler would be more pleased about how that first half has gone his two imports, or his new two imports, got 19 points between them and looked really good. And the Bullets' offensive efficiency, they're shooting the ball at 54%, 44% from the three. And I thought they did a respectable job defensively against Tasmania. Now, every game tells its own story, and coming into this game, Joel, make no mistake about it, this game means more to the Bullets than it does to Tasmania.
Need to get on the right track and start to sort of sort out what they might look like this season, I guess. What's their identity going to be? How are they going to butter their bread?
And we saw moments of what a fully operational and successful Bullets team could look like last season, but it didn't quite get there. So they'll still need to get Sam McDaniel back into the lineup. He's got a little shoulder complaint from the NBL 1 season, but we saw a significant improvement in his game last season. So there's no expecting that he is going to be any worse than he was last season. But they're a real tricky enterprise, the Brisbane Bullets, and I'll be curious to see how they finish and how they progress throughout this week.
Yeah, so they've got a pretty tough schedule, which I would imagine Justin Schuller would actually be pretty pleased with in his own little way.
Let's get into it.
So Tassie and Melbourne United to start things off, the two grand finalists from last season, and then you get the arch rival in Cairns to finish things off. That one on the very final Saturday here on the Gold Coast. Jordan Crawford with the heat check out of the halftime break. So back to starting fives. Walter Brown getting the run for Tassie. Gorjok Gack and Ruben Tarangi out there as well. Gack just the 2 and a bit minutes in that first half. Adele, Cook, Bateman, Harrison and Smith-Milner, who rattles it in for Brisbane.
Well, those unfamiliar with Towie Smith-Milner, that is what he's capable of. Stretches the floor, rugged on the defensive end.
He was a victim of all the upheaval in Adelaide last season. Brown outside, can't get it to go. He played 14 games in the first half of the season and then basically didn't see the hardwood for the second half as they underwent the coaching change. Before they underwent a coaching change, of course.
Bullets up 12, not 10.
Looking for a bit more opportunity, and you feel like he's still got a fair bit to offer, Smith-Milner.
There's no doubt, and he will have opportunities throughout the course of the season where his game style will actually be a potential benefit to the Bullets, and he's a guy who's been around the league long enough too. I foresee him being able to provide good minutes in tough environments away from home. Nice dish. So Brisbane right now have two wings operating really well, and Adele and Cook. They're both able to put the ball on the deck, slash, finish themselves, or as we saw right there, set the team A up for a little one. Good hands.
And Adele getting involved on the defensive end as well. Rocco Zikarsky's at the back of the bench over the other side. Looked like he was maybe getting some attention from the physios as well, hopping up and down on the one leg. Block shot from Gack. Of course, at the Bullets a couple of seasons ago before he went to Southeast Melbourne. I know our own Pete Hooley was one who had a huge amount of stock in Gorjok Gack. Might have just fallen down the market a little while.
Why are you bringing that up? Leave Hools. Wait till Hools is here. You start ripping him like that. Jesus.
But he's one that I think could have a real impact if he can be channeled the right way. He's got the physical tools. We know that. Can he?
Well, obviously he's out there right now, right? So there's going to be opportunities for him with the departure of Marcus Lee. Marcus Lee was their main starter at the center spot last season. Scott Roth likes to bring Magne off the bench.
Do you think he'll persist with that? Here he is, Gack with the rack attack.
I think as long as Gack cannot hurt them, I think Scott Roth likes that setup. Will Magne's net rating last year was astronomical, one of the best in the league. And you bring in a guy who's got NBA level ability, and he's playing against second stringers in the rotation, that gives you a real advantage game to game. And I think Roth would like to maintain that edge.
It certainly worked well for them. He came in, had an impact, played with some real freedom as well. You can download the NBL app. All the breaking news, direct to your advice, the latest video content, podcasts, certain people's top 15s as well you'll find there.
You and Damon Lowry are my favorites. I'm actually going to start calling that guy Damon Howery, because how is he an Olympian? How is he an NBL champion? And I'm without. How?
I love Damon, and he knows that.
We all love Damon.
But I'm glad that he's not here on the Gold Coast, because imagine the shirtless running videos we'd be getting if he was here.
What are you talking about? I get him every morning on my phone on Instagram. What? How does this guy run that much?
Phenomenal. Cheerio to you, Damon. I know that he's excited about young Ethan Almanza and Kareem Lopez, so he can bust out the Spanish during game broadcasts this season. Dengadell goes down and takes a bit of a lick on the floor.
I mean, I don't mean to blow our own trumpet too hard, but the NBL media commentary team is loaded with talent, outstanding people, and always updating with fresh talent too, just to keep everybody on their toes.
Wasn't sure quite where you were taking that. I thought you were going to say it's like, I thought you were going to say it's like they're loaded with talent and Damon. I thought that would have been very harsh.
Leonard Copeland, Andrew Gaze, Pete Hooley, Liam Santamaria. I'm probably going to miss someone here.
Some of the best in the business. Of course, a lot of those names you'll hear part of our coverage across the course of the week here at the NBL Blitz.
Alice Kunick. Well, Tyrell, I mentioned his free throw shooting proficiency would be huge this season. And in this game, Joel, he's got 13 points on only 5 shots, but he's 7 of 7 from the line. Now, I don't expect that level of accuracy. I would even take 5 out of 7. But the fact that he's getting to the line a lot, you want your team to shoot a lot of free throws. It is a key to winning basketball games.
Especially when you got the bigs that Brisbane do. He was about 64% on the season last year, Tyrell Harrison. And up that number, that'll be a big weapon. Beautiful feed. Bateman underneath to Bairstow. And James Bateman has looked the goods. 12 points on 4 of 7 shooting. His first assist. He's got a couple of steals. He's been active at the defensive end. If you're a Bullets fan, you'd have to like what you're seeing from him. And here is Milton Doyle. He's a smooth operator of the NBL. Zikarsky out there now, which is good to see. Adele on the roll, another nice finish underneath. He's done that well.
Having a really, really good game. Seemingly has more points than's on his score sheet as Crawford banks one in from the slot.
Credited with 8 so far, Adele. Bateman's got 12, Harrison's got 13. Crawford's got 15 to lead all scorers. Bairstow falling away. Some acrobatics while he was on the floor.
And again, we talk about this Brisbane team, and people talk about them perhaps not having the talent and the superstar, but it's kind of the same thing that we keep saying about Tasmania. We've said it for 3 years, and they've proven as a collective, if you have the right pieces, guys that can make timely plays, you can go really deep year after year. Tasmania have been championship series, semifinalists, championship winner. Pretty good run. And I think the Bullets want to replicate something like that.
It's astonishing to think they're only in their 4th season, the JackJumpers, and they've already got that gold logo on their jersey. Oof. Bairstow goes crashing over toward his old bench. Just reacquainting himself with some of his former teammates. Nice up and in defence from the Bullets. One's got to get it across here. Magnay out there now. Brown, Tarangi, Crawford. Brody Nunn swooping inside.
Okay, a little pop to his game. I like that.
DP have the Knox Raiders in the NBL 1 South.
Good activity, Rocco. Great anticipation.
And a walk as well. Of course, the Knox Raiders, the national champions in the men's side of things recently on the Sunshine Coast. Kyle Bowen, the MVP. We'll see him in the late game tonight for Melbourne United. Of that national finals team, Brody Nunn playing alongside him in that outfit. A lot of players really using the NBL 1 as a vessel to better themselves and get some more opportunity.
And you get up in moments like this, and it doesn't feel that foreign to you. You come in with a certain level of confidence.
Brisbane Bullets dominated the NBL 1 North as Rocco gets a piece of the shot from Magnay.
Again, referee says.
There's a battle of behemoths down low.
Well, Magnay was trying to resurrect that dunk he had in Game 5. Rocco met him at the summit. Let's have a look. That's clean. That's good basketball from the bigs. Magnay does exactly what he's supposed to try and do. Stick it on his head. And Rocco met him.
Magnay at the line. Of course, Tassie tickets are on sale now. You can scan the QR code below or go to nbl.com.au/tickets to purchase. The JackJumpers at home against Melbourne United, where they will raise the championship banner in round 2 of this season. Magnay cashes in. It's one of his areas of the game that he'd be looking to improve. Some of that free throw shooting. Don't happen to know anyone that could provide some advice, do you?
Will has a really good fundamental structure in this shot, and I thought in the period I was able to work with him, as I'm sure everyone knows by now, he was able to make some nice progress. That's nice offense also there from the Bullets. Rocco's got to put that one away.
So what are you working with a player that's got the tools in terms of it's not huge mechanical changes? What are you focusing on with someone like Will Magnay to get the most out of that stroke?
Well, once I understand that his hand position on the ball and his stance and all those things are proper, it's about developing a rhythm and a tempo. And I thought as he went into Boomer's camp, not only his free throws, but his jump shooting, his three-point shooting. The guy can shoot the ball from the three. Now, he's not required to do that in the Tasmanian offensive system, but he has that capability. I saw it firsthand. So if he's able to go elsewhere, and for his sake we hope so, but also we don't want to lose him, I would see that would say that part of his game has to be an area of continued development and progress and in-game display. Because he's an outstanding athlete.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's still got some upside. No doubt about that. I mean, objectively, he's one of the best players to watch in the competition. Last year, at times, he was dynamic. You know, at times, he was quite clearly Tasmania's most important player. And that just speaks to the level that he was playing at, because he's on a team that was absolutely loaded.
And the mental toughness to tear your hamstring in the first quarter of a game 5, and still find a way to make a contribution and have the mental toughness to stay out there. Big props.
Yeah, just keep chipping away. He's one that we want to see go and do big things, but maybe not at the expense of having him here, because we love watching him, Will Magnay. So good to see him in Boomers green and gold at the Olympics as well. He and Jack McVeigh. Rocco rejects another one from Magnay. He's not having it down there. And Majuk Deng is having it from out there. So back to a 10-point game. Crawford with 15. Harrison 13 for the Bullets. Joel Peterson, Derek Rucker with you. The NBL Blitz here on the Gold Coast. Proudly supported by experienced Gold Coast.
And if you can, hit that Instagram page. You talk about some beautiful posts. Put it into the search bar. Experience Gold Coast.
Might get a bit of FOMO, I reckon, doing that. See some
Really?
beautiful sunsets and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
And if you do, and you're sitting at home and you've got a bit of FOMO, well, then there's no better reason to get up here.
Especially as you guys are probably, it's that sweet spot where the Victorian days are still brutal.
Yeah.
But we've moved on. We're in full beach mode up here.
Yeah, it's a glorious time of year to come up here, isn't it? It's dry and it's pretty consistent, the weather. Of course, beautiful white sandy beaches in this part of the world, world-class surfing.
Can you surf?
Oh, what do you reckon? Absolutely not. I can't do anything that involves any mild degree of athleticism. I can talk about all of it, but not much more.
Sorry for asking.
Yeah, I'd break something falling into the water. That's how fragile I am. Steindl, long two, got it. Clint Steindl out there in the black shoes and the white socks, which is a smack-bang average look, but it works for him.
Yeah, it's not in vogue, that's for sure. Nice cut. Get that out of here.
Whoa.
Do you not know my resume?
That was done with some real force from Will Magnay. Two of the premier shot blockers in the competition. We'll get another look at it here. No, you can't be doing that, Isaac.
So quick off the floor, Magnay. Look at that. That is a hidden attribute well. Some guys can jump high, but they're slow off the floor. Then you get other guys like Magnay, quick off the floor. NBA quick off the floor.
Norton buries it from the elbow. So past the 2-minute warning here in this third period. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker with you at Carrara Indoor Sports Centre. Doyle with the fall away, won't go. Last touch by a Tassie hand. So 2 games coming your way across the first 7 days of this NBL Blitz here on the Gold Coast. Melbourne and Cairns later tonight. Rocco meets Magnay upstairs again, and Magnay did enough to at least make Zikarsky think about it. That Brisbane bench all standing up at the moment, liking what they're seeing. Doyle upstairs, Magnay goes down awkwardly, but he's up and okay. Well, Bateman's looked good. He's looked really good.
The stroke looks nice. Again, if he shows the ability to knock that 3 ball down, that will open up not only a lot of other aspects of his game, but the Bullets offensively will have so much more court space.
Is Prather on the hammer? And Brisbane out to a 17-point lead, closing it on 3/4 time.
And Joel, make no mistake, this is significant for Brisbane. We can say whatever we want about how much this game may not mean to Tasmania or whatever their motivations may be. That is irrelevant to the Brisbane Bullets. They see the champions out there in front of them.
I want to come out and make a statement that they're not mucking around in this NBL 25 campaign. Magnay comes out. Archie Woodhill checks into the game, former Sydney DP, who's got that role with the JackJumpers this season. Signed a little while ago with Nick Stoddart as well. None underneath. There is Woodhill. He's absolutely in the All-NBL hair best 5. Prather can't get it to go. And we get to 3/4 time. Brisbane up by 15 points, 72-57. They had a 7-0 run late in that third term, the Brisbane Bullets. And Derek Rucker, they've looked really impressive.
Well, defensively, they're just doing an outstanding job and frustrating Tasmania. Tasmania only 29% from the three. And Brisbane just doing a number of them, stifled them and held them to only 16 points in that quarter. And doing it without fouling. That's a key also. A lot of teams can defend, but can you keep the other team off the free throw line? Not much with the rebounding. Bullets doing a good job, but certainly turning over Tasmania as they have 8 steals. Just a quality basketball game, and I'm surprised at how sharp the players look. If we look at the top scorers, Bateman 15, Harrison 13. Crawford has had moments to get his 15 points. But this might be a troubling little point for Tasmania. How do they get extra scoring in the absence of McVeigh? We touched on it earlier, but they've only got a little bit of time to figure it out. Someone's going to have to be able to come in there. Again, is it Doyle who scores more? Is it Crawford who scores more, or do they get another new person in there that can provide more offensive punch?
And Doyle's an interesting one, isn't he? Because we know he can. We know that he can, and when the moment matters and when it's all there for him, he does. But he doesn't sort of have that real takeover mentality all the time. Do you think he might need to have it a little bit more often this season?
Certainly. He has to get, first of all, his field goal percentage is up. He shoots in the low 40s, so that's something that is a worry in an area that he can improve upon. But you're right. He's probably got to take more bad shots this season and allow himself that latitude to find his confidence, because when he does get it going, he can be at that first team all NBL level. Remember, just less than 10 months ago, we were talking about Milton Doyle as being an MVP candidate. He was playing at that level.
Feeling you might need to be back in that sort of form to really get Tassie where they want to go this season. Woodhill stays out there to start this final term for the Jackies. Almost gets his hand on the rebound there. Bateman with 15, Crawford with 15 for the JackJumpers. Harrison and Prather also in double digits for Brisbane. Positive signs for Casey Prather. A beautiful cut to the hoop there too. So 14 points for Casey Prather, which is a really nice sign for Justin Schuler and his crew.
It's a big-time sign. And with low maintenance, and that's always been one of Casey's real shining attributes, is his ability to get it without a lot of demand for the basketball. Nunn continues to impress. Not bashful.
Over 3 of 7 so far. 5 of 6 from the stripe as well.
Smith-Milner takes one where even a guy of his size can be somewhat vulnerable.
Might just leave that one go through to the Tim Paine style keeper there, Derek. So no Josh Bannon for Brisbane, we know that. He's going to come in and provide a real scoring punch for them, especially toward the back end of last year. He did exactly that, had some NBA experience with Summer League in the off-season. Beautiful floater from Milton Doyle just to get that one to go. How much do you think Bannon's going to add to this Brisbane team this year? Can he be a real breakout player of the competition?
Bannon gives you that motor, and especially at that position, the 4 spot. It's a high motor position in this league this season and historically. You've got to go up against guys like Xavier Cooks Can you match the energy? In the past, it's been guys like Mitch Creek. You got to match the energy. And I think when he comes back, trust me, he will make them 10% better.
Cook underneath. Smith-Milner just can't finish. Now he's got sort of a really nice weaponry to his game. We can see the brace on his left arm at the moment. Brisbane membership still available. Their first home game against the Sydney Kings, the 5th of October at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. Scan the QR code on your screen to secure your membership. The ultimate game day experience. You can also go to brisbanebullets.com.au for memberships, tickets, hospitality, and much more.
And the Bullets have done a great job. They've got some really cool stuff happening out there at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. They've done a deal with Queensland Transport where you can get out to the venue. There's a train stop right there from all parts, Sunshine Coast. You can connect from the CBD and the south side. It is going to be a really big season for the Brisbane Bullets out at Boondall.
They've already got a membership record for memory as well, the Bullets. So things certainly looking up in the Royal Blue this season. 61-77. Joel Peterson, Derek Rucker with you. First game of this NBL Blitz on the Gold Coast. Krizlovic for three. Didn't see a lot of that last season. And that's a nice start for the big man. Just couldn't find that shooting touch. Shot at just 35% from the field last season, did Fabian Krizlovic. Still able to impact games in other ways. Cook has it stripped by Steindl. And a walk. Haven't seen Sean McDonald in this game so far. We knew that Anthony Drimmick wasn't going to play with some illness, but Brody Nunn getting some solid minutes in the place of Sean McDonald. 15 minutes so far for Nunn, 6 points. McDonald, of course, the most improved player in the competition last season. Will Magno finalist for that award and for Defensive Player of the Year. Bairstow can't get it to go from the baseline. Scott Roth just continues to patrol that sideline for Tassie with some intent.
Sometimes coaches like a result like this, especially when you've had a high degree of success. They can just go back and be like, see, I tried to tell you.
Just to sharpen things up.
James Bateman, very impressive. Very impressive game. One thing he has done consistently in the preseason is get assists. I think he's probably averaging 5 assists a game. In today's game, he's got 3 in only 23 minutes. So, you know, in a standard game, he's probably going to get up around 5 or 6, and that would be a good return for him with regards to his playmaking. But I think he's been really good in this game. I didn't love what I saw a couple of weeks ago when they played against Shanghai. But certainly there's been progress in his game here.
So we've got 6 minutes left. Has either team surprised you with what you've seen so far?
Brisbane look a little bit better organized than I expected. And Tasmania, I just expected them to come out here and get a burn in, and then kind of the next game start to crank it up a little bit as Dang cranks one up himself. He and Clint Steindl will be able to wake up when they're 70 years old, step out behind the three-point line and knock them down. Just stop and shoot the three, Clint. Oh, my.
There's some confidence for Majuk Deng. We know that he can shoot that. Interesting pre-season for Tassie too. Of course, we've talked about sort of what's still to come, but they had a couple of games against Adelaide scheduled last week, which did go ahead because of the wild weather in that part of the world. They've had severe weather warnings in Tassie. They've had flooding down there as well. So our thoughts with anyone who might have been affected by that over the last little while. But they ended up playing a couple of intra-club games. Does that contribute to maybe not being quite as sharp as they'd like?
Yeah, it's not quite the same. And you know, especially against Brisbane, I think Brisbane have played 5 or 6 preseason games already. They played Shanghai, and then they had another game where I think they played Shanghai behind closed doors. So they've got a lot of game in their legs.
It's very much the Dean Vickerman mould that Justin Schull has taken to Brisbane in terms of the preseason, isn't it? Just to get games in early and often and really build into the campaign.
And players love that. There's nothing worse than sitting in your training venue day after day, especially with this generation. They require more stimulation. That's how we are as a society, and the players need that variety day to day, and going up against other players is a great way to satisfy that need.
Test yourself. There's only so much you can get sort of playing against the same units every single time. You get a little bit of a different look, a little bit of a different challenge when you start to come up against some different faces.
Well, you know when you're playing amongst yourselves, you know the other team sets and plays. So there's a natural tendency to want to cheat a little bit, or you don't play it true because you know what might be happening.
Bullets fans, where you at? Make some noise.
Joel Peterson, Derek Rucker with you. Game 1 of this NBL Blitz on the Gold Coast. It's yours to experience. Oh, terrific work from Nunn. Off to Brown, who throws it down. Walter with the whack. The flying mullet. Cruising into the hoop.
Walter Brown, I did not previously acknowledge your bounce, Brown. He threw that down. Nice.
He's had a couple of solid seasons in the NZNBL to really grow into his game. Champion a couple of seasons ago with Canterbury. One who's plied his trade over there. It's been a really fertile proving ground for a lot of NBL players over the last couple of seasons, the New Zealand League. Lockie Olbrich, one who we'll see over the next couple of days, who I'm very high on. He's just come off a stellar campaign in that part of the world. There's all different ways to do an off-season, that's for sure. Krislovic left wide open.
Krislovic, such a deceptive player. Got more athleticism than it looks like. Shoots the ball better than people think. And very stout defender, great effort player, outstanding leader.
Part of that leadership group for Tassie again. Let's have a look at this Walter Brown jam again. It's a nice little hammer, bit of pre-season force for Walter Brown. Why not make them count when you get the opportunity?
And I just want to be honest here. I'm also in preseason mode. Commentators' fatigue have just set in, Joel.
How's the old voice box going, Derek?
Yeah, mentally, I think I'm shot. I've got 30.
Get the man a coffee.
I've got 35 minutes in me now, Joel. I gotta get better.
You work into things. You need to know a few preseason games.
There's no doubt that is real.
Get a big burn in this week, and then by the time Hoops Fest rolls around, you'll be cherry ripe. You will be cherry ripe when we get to Perth, that's for sure. You've also had a busier pre-season than most with the top 15 and the marketplace, and you've been a regular in my podcast feed, which has been very nice. That's the NBL app, all the place to get all of that throughout the course of the season.
Yo, Bateman is wheeling and dealing on these cats. He's strong, and perhaps his mishandling that we saw in the previous game and early in this game, oh, he takes the charge there. Good defense, moving the feet. But to continue on, Perhaps it was just confidence related, nerves related, because the handle looked good on that change of direction drive to the basket. And right here, he gets none. Reads it perfectly. That's an offensive foul.
It's a 10-point game with 3 minutes remaining. You can get NBL 25 ready by scanning the QR code below and going into the draw to win a signed NBL jersey, NBL tickets, a 3-month KO gift card, and a $130 NBL store voucher. Don't miss out. Get the QR code that is on your screen and get into the draw for some cracking prizes. One of my favourite things about any new off-season is new uniforms.
Yeah.
Have you got a pre-season favourite for me in terms of threads?
I saw the white ones that the Sydney Kings put up yesterday. You didn't like them?
Oh, no, that font.
Yes.
Mwah, chef kiss.
Correct.
Gorgeous. Yeah, they the Kings uniforms have been good for a long time, but this season's something very nice. Bateman from the car park. And he might have hit a car with that one.
Just sliced it a little bit.
Someone's alarm going off in the background. Gonna have a timeout here with 2:38 remaining. Plenty to like if you're a Bullets fan, though. James Bateman, he's been terrific. 6 of 10 shooting, 17 points. Tyrell Harrison had a hot start. He's got 15. He's 4 of 6 from the field, but 7 of 7 from the stripe. They're 19 of 22 overall from the free throw line, Brisbane. Tassie 8 of 9. Of course, another game to come tonight. Melbourne and Cairns, 7:30 Eastern time. Pete Hawley to join me in commentary for that one, and Ariana Prather will join us in the first half of that game as well. So we'll get a little bit more intel on how things are going for the Bullets. There is Scott Roth going for the red whiteboard marker on the board.
And as you can see from our vision, there's not many empty seats in the house.
First couple of days sold out here at the NBL Blitz.
If you're in the area, maybe you can come in and talk your way in with a little bit of cash.
Tickets available for the midweek games. So you've got Adelaide, Tassie on Monday, Cairns, Sydney as well. Brisbane, Melbourne United, Tuesday, Illawarra, Perth. Wednesdays, New Zealand, Adelaide, and Sydney, Southeast Melbourne. Thursday, Melbourne United in Illawarra, Cairns and Perth. And Friday, Adelaide, Southeast Melbourne, Sydney, New Zealand. Brisbane and Cairns finishes off next Saturday. All those games will be just down the road. So at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. We're at Carrara tonight and tomorrow before we shift a couple of 100 metres further down toward the Nerang River. 2.5 minutes remaining in this one. Bullets by 10. And a really solid performance from Brisbane. Nice way to start their pre-season campaign. Krislovic's shot is well off. Of course, Melbourne United, the reigning Loggins Bruton Cup champions. Milner goes down in the backcourt. Floor wipers out there from the local Gold Coast Basketball Association.
Yep.
Basketball in this part of the world is growing at a rapid rate.
Booming. Gold Coast basketball, one of the largest associations in Queensland. Produced some outstanding players that have gone on to play collegiately in recent years. NBL, WNBL, very strong association here in Carrara.
Bullets fans, hands up.
Smith Milner to go to the line. If we were calling a footy game, Derek, that'd be at the BMX track end of the court. The squash centre end at the other. Uniquely positioned here with in this multi-sport facility. Had some Olympians training on that BMX track in recent times. Of course, the Australians so successful in Paris in that discipline. Logan Martin, gold medalist Takeaway here from Bateman. Swooping inside, gets it to go. And James Bateman's provided a really bright spark for these Bullets. And he could go to the line to add another one to his tally, which has already grown to 19.
And living in Brisbane, Joel, the call year after year has been, where is our point guard? Where is our point guard? Well, perhaps that answer is right here in number 5, James Bateman.
Certainly hope so. 19 points for Bateman, 7 of 12. Been active at the defensive end too, which has been a positive. And Brodie Nunn fouls out of his first pre-season contest. But 20 and a half minutes for Nunn, 6 points, 4 assists as well. And he was busy while he was out there. They might have unearthed another in those DP positions. We know the success that Sean McDonald's had. See Taron Armstrong back right of screen there, just popping his head out to have a look at things. They're up next, the Taipans against Melbourne United. So much of their fortunes this season will swing on that man. Block from Prather. Krislovic buries it. Eight points for Krislovic in his just about 20 minutes. So just again, no Sean McDonald for Tassie. We haven't seen Sam McDaniel for Brisbane. We know that Bannon and Drimmick both aren't playing in this game. So we haven't seen the full complement from either side. Bateman working his way inside again. Can't finish that time. He's such a different look for Brisbane, though, with no Nathan Sobey this season on the offensive end particularly.
Well, that caused a lot of conversation right across the country. And ultimately, I thought it was a great move for both parties. Nathan gets a chance to go out, show what he can do with a new club where he probably feels more appreciated.
Yep. And with a point guard who's going to put him in you know, Nathan Sobey could score at will when he was running the show. And when Derek Walton Jr. is running the show, imagine what he can do. And he won't have to shoulder as much of the load for that South East Melbourne team as well.
But I still want him to shoulder a lot of the load. I still want him to be aggressive, just probably with a little bit more discretion. And I think you'll see an improvement in his numbers.
Yeah.
Both aggregate and percentage.
Well, he was 20 points a game last season, so he was their leading scorer at 20.1, 4.4 assists, 2.6, 4.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists. You know, he shot the 3 ball at a high volume, not the highest efficiency, but, I mean, we know what he can do. He had career best figures back-to-back last season, Nathan Sobey, 35 and 36 at one point. So,
and still an elite physical specimen with a high athleticism quotient for his age.
We'll see him tomorrow against the Illawarra Hawks as South East Melbourne got to our hotel just as we were coming over here to broadcast this game. Zikarsky underneath. What's Rocco played? He's been in and out and chatting to the physios at the back of the bench. So 15 minutes for Zikarsky, 6 points. 3 rebounds, a block in there, one that was discredited.
If he's around that neighborhood.
Yeah, so how many, what minutes-wise, what would you be playing him this season?
I would think,
trying to get him to.
I would think a default amount that I would budget would be 15 minutes. If he's playing well, that may well jump to 20, 22 minutes. But if he's a bit off, well, you could find yourself in single digits.
I heard him say during the week when he started playing basketball, his coach would put him out there for the opening tip and then sub him out immediately, and he wouldn't play for the rest of the game.
Thanks for the possession, Rocco. Come over here and sit with me, buddy.
He went down to Division 4 to get his minutes up, and he only started playing when he was 12 or 13, and now at 18 he's really blossomed, and we know that he's right in the pointy end of mock drafts when he becomes eligible at the end of this season. So much excitement about what he can do, and that's why. He blocks the shot of Deng. Now he walls up against Krizlovic. Can he get a piece of that as well? Krizlovic finishes strong. And a timeout here for Justin Schuler. So 14 seconds remaining. The margin is 10. Maybe a little bit of situational basketball, which is what these preseason games are so valuable for.
Well, that's right. You want to make every possession an opportunity to learn, whether it's on the defensive or the offensive end.
So 14 seconds remaining. First game here on the Gold Coast of 15. The NBL Blitz proudly supported by experienced Gold Coast. Ahead of another big NBL campaign. After historic highs last season, fastest growing sports organisation in Australia and New Zealand. Back for more and bigger and better things in NBL 25. So an opportunity here for both of these teams to practice a little bit of late game situational stuff. Justin Schuler deciding to advance the ball out of the timeout.
And we had a look at that Bullets huddle. We saw the son of one of the all-time NBA greats, Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing Jr. is a member of the Brisbane Bullets coaching staff. Great guy. Obviously knows a lot about hoops. He can bring a lot to that Bullets coaching staff this season.
Darren McDonald, Greg Vanderjet, of course, assistants for Justin Schuler as well. Kai Savage out there. Smith Milner, the straightaway three, cans it. Justin Schuler's happy with what he saw out of that.
Well, Tasmania tried to trick it up and go zone, and Brisbane made the adjustment and got a good look. That's why he was so happy.
And the Bullets start their campaign with a win. 89-76 over the reigning champions. James Bateman, the star, with 20 points. And the Bullets shoot out to an early W at this NBL Blitz on the Gold Coast. Derek Rucker, what did you make of the opening game of this 25 NBL Blitz?
A solid effort by both teams. Brisbane just a bit sharper. And as I said, I think their motivation coming into the game was superior to Tasmania's. But I think both teams will have taken out of this game exactly what they wanted. Both coaches would be pleased with some aspects. And look, Tasmania's agenda is much different than Brisbane's. And I imagine by the next time we see Tasmania play, they'll be a lot more inspired.
So they've only got the one other game at this NBL Blitz. That comes on Monday against Adelaide. We see Brisbane in action next against Melbourne United on Tuesday. Melbourne United and Cairns not too far away as well. So both of these teams huddling up after a pretty solid opening hit out. James Bateman led the scorers with 20 points. Tyrell Harrison had 15 and 4 rebounds, I should say. Casey Prather with 14 off the bench and 5 rebounds, which is a really good sign for Bullets fans. For the JackJumpers, we see Rocco Zikarsky making his impact on the contest. Jordan Crawford had 15 points and only played 18 minutes in the end, so really efficient stuff.
He looked really sharp, and we didn't see much of Craig Ford in the second half. I'm not sure what's going on there,
yeah,
but
well,
I didn't
he did
mind.
Go down at one stage.
Yeah, he had that
second quarter.
Yeah, where he looked like he wrenched his knee a little bit, but I liked what I saw with him in his time. We know Doyle is going to be a very good player in the competition. Yeah, they'll just go back, get back to the training court, and just try and get better each day.
The Bullets doing a lap of their fans that are in here in the Gold Coast as well. Casey Prather with the jam. He was good for the Bullets too. Double-digit scorers for Krizlovic and Majuk Deng in this one for Tassie as well. They shot 43% of the field, 33% from downtown, 90% of the stripe, 10 of 11. Brisbane were 24 of 27 at the free throw line, Ruck, and shot it at 53% from downtown. So Excuse me, 36% from downtown, 53% from the field. So,
but offensively, Joel, I like the direction. I like how they were really pointed in how they were trying to get scoring opportunities, and that they were using the right guys to try and get those opportunities. And I thought Dang Adele was really good. Although the numbers don't look great, they don't look bad either. But I thought his influence in the game was really positive, and he's going to attract a lot of defensive attention. You got to check that guy because he believes he's the best player on the floor, and that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So Melbourne United and Cairns Taipans getting ready for game number 2. Derek Rucker, you've got 160 experiences within 30 minutes of here on the Gold Coast. You've got world-class dining. You've got all kinds of things. How are you going to spend the rest of your night?
I'm going to try and get about 40 of them done.
I like it. You're a busy man, Rucker. Good to see you. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Great seeing you, Joel.
Derek Rucker with us on our coverage of the NBL Blitz. Melbourne United and the Cairns Taipans not too far away.